This is the Tropic Pianist Gamers podcast, episode 68, Fumbling to Focused. Today I welcome my guest Angela. Hi Angela, would you like to
Hi,
introduce
nice to
yourself
see you.
properly?
Yes, I'd love to introduce myself. So I'm Angela Hodgson, the founder and director of Ignite Improvement. I work with lots of growing businesses to help to ignite and inspire the people and to create passion and energy to grow.
Okay, so let me know a little bit of your background story and what led you to become that.
My background story is I used to work in corporate. I worked in Bentley Motors for 9 years. I also worked in Jaguar Land Rover and also Ford for 15 months. I had a kind of corporate experience, and I'm sure we'll talk later about kind of burnout, kind of what led me down that path. But I set the business up because I was really inspired to help the UK economy to grow, really inspired to help business owners to grow and give them the right tools, give them the right capability, and reignite their passion for doing something different with their business. Because a lot of business owners I work with, the businesses are kind of stalling or they're not necessarily going in the direction that they're going in. And a lot of business owners have lost their passion and joy.
Okay, so how long have you been running your business for?
There's a little bit of a story around that. So this time it's been 5 years, but it was originally set up in 2008, and I ran it for approximately around 6 years. Had a baby, and then I thought, oh, actually, this is quite hard now to kind of network and find. This was back in the days when you had to do 6 a.m. networking meetings to get new clients. And then I
Oof.
got a call out the blue from Bentley, got headhunted to go there, went there for 9 years, took voluntary redundancy, and then set the business back up. So my husband and I are both now full time in the business, and it's been up and running this time for 5 years.
Okay, so you talk about you had children. You've got two, I
Mm-hmm.
believe.
I have, yeah.
Um, would you like to say more about that? Because I know they're kind of involved in your topic, aren't they?
Yeah, so both of my children are neurodiverse. So the eldest, who is 14, he has autism and ADHD. And then the youngest, who is 7, is undiagnosed, but we're absolutely convinced he's autistic. So there's a
Can
lot of
relate to
complexities in
that.
our, yeah, there's a lot of complexities in our household. I'm undiagnosed ADHD, my husband's undiagnosed autism. So there's a lot of in my nieces, my nephews, my brothers, my siblings, my parents, there's a lot of neurodiversity, either diagnosed or undiagnosed. So it can be quite complex. We've had to go on quite a learning journey ourselves as parents to learn more about how to parent children with neurodiversity because they do think behave very, very differently to neurotypical children. So it has had a massive impact in our lives. And it is actually one of the reasons why we did set the business up because we wanted better balance so we can spend more time with the children, have more flexibility because their needs come first.
Okay, so the fumbling was while you were working it out, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so the fumbling's been quite a few periods along my career. It's been fumbling in terms of wearing a mask and pretending to be somebody who I wasn't when I was working in male-dominated, ego-driven businesses, and I was a senior leader, female and young at the time. It was fumbling around how do I want to be portrayed? How do I want to come across? Fumbling of learning how to become a parent in the first place, and then a parent to neurodiverse children was very difficult. Fumbling when I first set the business up with these bright ideas, age 23, and then, oh, actually, this is quite difficult, all of this business stuff. And, when you're doing it in reality, I've got a degree and a master's in business, but owning your own business, it's a, death by a thousand cuts. You've got to learn as you go along. And the other bit of the fumbling story is that's the type of client I work with who are fumbling and desperate to find a better way, but they just don't know how to solve those things themselves.
Ah, yes. So helping people find their passion. You
Mm.
did talk about mention burnout earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to tell that bit of your story? Because burnout is something a lot of us can relate to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my burnout story is when I had my second child, I returned to Bentley Motors after maternity leave, and I really struggled with that transition back into the workplace. And at first, I thought it was just because I'd gone from nursery rhyme singing and being in soft play groups to then all of a sudden being in the corporate world. But then I went on this event to Barcelona, and I had probably about 50 staff. I had hundreds and hundreds of delegates flying in from all over the world. There was a massive attack, like a big internal conflict in Barcelona with Catalonia, and there was bombs and terrorists and guns and fires and all sorts of different stuff. And there was a lot of worry and obviously concern about safety of my staff and my people. And when I ran back to Bentley, they basically said you need to manage the risks, manage the product, document everything that you've said. And I just thought there was so much pressure. There was new board members. I had a new line manager. There was just so much pressure. I just really started to doubt myself and it really started to burn me out. But then on top of that, I had a friend who, age 35, went to bed and died. That was it. She just didn't wake up. That was it. She was gone. I had a brother in a war zone who went missing. We didn't know where he was. I had neurodiverse children who were very complex in their behaviors at the time. We had COVID. So all of this led to a breakdown and it led to massive burnout to the point where I couldn't communicate, couldn't get out of bed, and I actually didn't want to be here anymore. So my burnout story was it really did break me at that point in time.
So how do you come back from the bit where you can't communicate, you can't get out of bed then?
I started counselling. So that really helped. And the counselling helped because I had a lot of trauma in my childhood. So I had a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect in my childhood. So a lot of why I was burnt out and why I was having this breakdown was quite triggering from my childhood. So the counselling kind of helped to unlock that and help me to process that. I started being a lot more authentic and honest with what I wanted and who I wanted to be around. I really started to think back to what actually energizes me. What is my purpose in life? Who do I want to be? What do I want to be? Rather than just, going on this hamster wheel every day and wearing this mask and pretending to be something that actually I'm not, and I'm not enjoying that at all. I went on a parenting course and learned a lot more about neurodiversity and how to become, be a positive mom and a positive role model in the neurodiversity community. So it was a lot of self-reflection and a lot of planning around what and who do I want to be, and then putting the steps and plans in motion to become that best version of me that I wanted to be.
Okay, so you've been 5 years into that business, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
So what has been the most outstanding client you've worked with so far?
I mean, to be honest, I'm very privileged that I've had loads of amazing clients who I've worked with. I'm genuinely love my clients. We have such a laugh together and we achieve so much together. And I learn from them as much as they learn from me. But one real standout is one that I'm working with right now. They're in the science kind of industry, really technical, really complex things, products that they make. And I work with the entire leadership team around what's their strategy for the business, how do they implement their strategy, how do they connect together as a team, how do they communicate with their people. But the reason why it stand out is because we had this starting point where the strategy was a bit disjointed, we weren't kind of clear the direction we wanted to go on. And we're at the point now where we recently did an anonymous survey, a big poll online. We're in this big meeting and we asked all the staff, what do they think about strategy? And they had to score it out of five. Sorry, they had to score it, say, out of five of do they connect to it? Do they believe in it? Do they know how they can contribute to that strategy? And we scored so high on that from everybody. And the starting point to that was nobody knew what it was, nobody knew how they could contribute. And now every single person is saying they truly do believe in it. So that's why it stand out. It's because it's been such a journey, but we're having massive successes now. So it really makes me very proud and very happy that I do work with that client and have supported them in that transformation.
Yeah, communication is often a key that's missing from a lot of corporate jobs. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you've got an outstanding client. What's the biggest lesson you've learned on your journey in your business?
My biggest lesson is that you've got to, at first, embrace every opportunity and then find your niche. I think a lot of businesses niche down too quickly. And when they niche down too
Yeah.
quickly, they don't necessarily see that there's a massive world out there. There's so many different people, different clients, different industries that you can work with. So after 5 years, I'm now niching down, and my niche is now building brilliant businesses without burnout. So it's really that focus on business growth with burnout. Whereas before, I was doing quite a lot of broad stuff, but that's really helped me to get so many opportunities and so much more visibility and so much more credibility. So that's been the big kind of learning point for me.
Yeah, I kind of get that because I've been so many years as well, and I didn't really niche in the first place because I didn't know how to. So I'm
Mm,
starting to sort of work out a niche now after 10
mm,
years being a piano teacher nearly. So yeah, I
yeah.
can get that. So if someone comes to you now with no clear path, how would you help them to get started to brilliance?
So I've created a framework called Power, and that is the path, the Power Path. So it's a very simple framework, and it starts off with a little quiz. So they can fill in this quiz, and it'll give them a score and help them to understand where the gaps are in their business, but also where their strengths are. So Power stands for purpose. What direction you're taking the business in, and what is giving you ultimate joy as an owner or as a leader. O, organization. What's the roles and responsibilities and ways of working in the business to support people to succeed with that new purpose? W, work habits. What's the rhythms and routines that are in place, the meetings, the reports, the structures that's helping you to succeed? E is engagement. So this is how do you energize and motivate and inspire the team to want to do that? And R is results. How do you measure that you've actually achieved it? So that pathway that I've created comes with toolkits. It's going to be a course that I'm launching later on this year, where different businesses from different industries can come together, learn from each other, and have a very simple and structured way to grow their business.
Yeah, strategy was the key word I picked up there. It's important to have a
Yeah.
strategy if you're a business. I know that
Mhm.
myself. Cool. So, if someone wants to work with you, how did they go about finding you?
So my most prominent platform, social media platform, is LinkedIn. So it's linkedin.com/in// Angela Hodgson, and it's Hodgson Hodgson because everyone misses the S and kind of forgets that bit. And that's the primary way to contact me. I'm on social media all the time. I post loads of content, tips, lots of raw things around mistakes I've made or things that I've, interesting tips or interesting things that I've been across. So please do follow me on LinkedIn. But I also have a little freebie for your listeners, which is that quiz that I mentioned earlier. So please do take that quiz. It's a free quiz and it'll tell you, is your business brilliant or burnt out? And it comes with this business brilliance blueprint, which is another little freebie just to help you to have some really practical tips that you individually can put into place to grow your business.
Cool. So, with all that going on, I nearly forgot to ask you about plate spinning. Plate spinning was the
Mm.
keyword that made me want to book you as a guest. So, tell me about plate spinning.
So I'm constantly spinning plates every single day. I am growing a new arm to my business, a digital arm. I've got existing clients who I work with. I work with three different universities. I've got two children who've got neurodiversity. I want to have a social life. I want to go to the gym. So every day and every moment of my life, I'm spinning plates. But what I've had to do is become very targeted and very focused on which plates I want to spin when, which ones I'm going to choose to put down at that point in time, and think, do you know what? It's just not feasible that I'm going to take on board that new client at the moment. So I have a broad network of people who I partner with, who I can support, still support clients, but in a bit of a different way. I have just paused one of my internal projects to do it in January instead. So I don't put as much pressure on myself. So plate spinning for me is about being very purposeful that you don't continue to spin 80 plates at the same time because it's not realistic. But what's the ones that you really don't want to smash on the floor? You absolutely have to make sure those particular ones continue to spin.
Yeah, so it's about having boundaries as well, isn't it? Knowing when to
Yeah.
say no is very
Yeah,
important.
100%.
Yeah, cool. So if people want to tap into your services, the best place to find you is LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got anything else you want to promote? Or is that
Um,
it?
I want to promote people to take back control of their own lives and their own destiny. I want to promote people to get the joy back and passion in their lives. And I would really encourage people to do the quiz, come onto my LinkedIn and really learn from those things. There's loads of videos and all sorts of things on there because I just think there's so many people in life who are in the drudge. They're just surviving. They're just going through life day to day to day, week to week to week. They're not really got that passion, that ignition. They've not really got that energy. Come and work with me. Come and explore my stuff for free because that genuinely will make a big difference to you and what you're going to do and achieve in your life.
And do you have to own a business to work with you? Or can it be someone who's just stuck on looking for purpose?
Mainly business owners. I think, I mean, you can still learn from the things that I'm putting out there with regards to if you're not a business owner. There's a lot of people who are transitioning out of corporate, so they may be wanting to set up a business. But I do work with three universities as well. So there are kind of programs and other bits that I'm part of that I would recommend that they be part of to try and get some broader support. But a big thing is, like we were saying, Jen, before we dialed into this, is you've got a great community, you meet with non-business owners and business owners. It's trying to find that. Where else can you just get inspiration from others outside of your own friendship group and your own family that's going to help you to think differently about your life and the world around you?
Yeah. For me, it's about finding your tribe of your
Oh,
cheerleaders, and
nice. Love
you
that.
get that through networking. So
Mm,
by networking and getting out there and putting your name out there, you do find people on your wavelength who get you.
mm,
And I think that's really important to help on
mm,
your development journey if you want to find your passions and live life to the
mm.
full. So yeah,
Agreed completely.
that's the business perspective. So thanks today for being my guest. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation.
I really have. Thank you so much for having me.